with a little legal grudge. Short story on rights inspired me to fight. First woman elected, properly respected. In a sea of misters sits a cabinet minister. The most attractive is the social activist. Together we proceed to grow the living tree. Take a seat, get ready for the famous five. Take a seat, it's time for the famous five. Take a seat, get ready for the famous five. Take a seat, it's time for the famous five. Hey, oh. 1867, Canada's Confederation, a brand new country, a young new nation. Started with the contract to pack through legislation, the Constitution Act, our legal foundation. The very next year, an English court says women are not persons they report. No rights or privileges of any legal sort. And that's a law Canada chose to import. So at the time, legal rights could only extend to corporations, churches, ships, and men. So women had no rights in the law's first version. Then the famous five fought to become legal person. For equality, they sought a legal resolution. Was a reality of person or just a delusion? Justice or jargon, inclusion or illusion, to write women's rights into the Constitution. Determined to thrive as true north strong, with freedom alive in the future they saw. Their legacy survives, a crusading song. How the famous five changed our lives and law. Take a seat, get ready for the famous five. Take a seat, it's time for the famous five. Take a seat, get ready for the famous five. Take a seat, it's time for the famous five. Emily Murphy, the seed Canada needs, planning progress to succeed. I was the first woman judge, but a non-legal person with a little legal grudge. Henrietta Muir Edwards, I wrote the book on women's rights. Was way too short, so I chose to fight. The rule of law carries true, but it needs reform, needs review. I'm here to grow the roots. Louise McKinney, I had my political doubts, but the sprout breaks ground outside the house. My women's union grew dominant. I was the first woman elected to provincial parliament. Irene Parlby, I was born in England, prim, proper, came to help this country prosper. Change is slow, not the dynamite's boom. It takes time for trees to grow, for flowers to bloom. Nellie McClung, social activist for equality, led by the leaves of morality. With quick-witted words I persevere, held a mock parliament just to tease our premier. Take a seat, get ready for the famous five. Take a seat, it's time for the famous five. Get ready for the famous five. Take a seat, it's time for the famous five. The first woman judge with a little legal grudge, planting the seed. Short story on rights inspired me to fight. Roots grow long, first woman elected, properly respected. Sprout breaks ground in a sea of misters. It's a cabinet minister. Growth takes time. The most attractive is the social activist, changing leaves. Together we see a thriving living tree. Take a seat, get ready for the famous five. Take a seat, it's time for the famous five. Get ready for the famous five. Take a seat, it's time for the famous five. Get ready for the famous five. Take a seat, it's time for the famous five. Edmonton, Alberta, 1920.
dismiss this case must be thrown out. The Constitution leaves no doubt. Women are not persons under the law. With no standing to judge, you must withdraw. Don't take that seat, there's no debate. To hell with women magistrates.
A judge, but not person, my feminine trait. Yes, I know the Constitution needs an update. But while you're in my courtroom, stop it. Brutally, do you have any cases on my docket?
Yes, I'm here to represent my client against his wife, non-compliant and defiant.
Ma'am, you filed this petition. Please tell the court your position. Your Honor, it's been over a year since my husband left our home. I fear he returned from war, but not the same. Alone with our sons, I've been shouldering the shame. The law is clear. Desertion for a year is grounds for divorce, my dear. Early, can you counter her claim? Or is your argument more of the same?
Yes, my client plans to return. He promises there's no legal concern.
Promises without evidence is not enough. Problem is there's no relevance in this bluff. Procedure says empty words hold no sway. When your client can't be bothered to be here today, ma'am, I find in your favor divorce I am granting.
And yet you still have no legal standing. This court's a sham, filled with mistakes. To hell with women magistrates.
A judge, but not person, my feminine trait. Yes, I know the Constitution needs an update. Thank you, Your Honor, I'm finally free. This divorce means the world to me. Sadly, this is one step along the way. A Pyrrhic victory was won today. Though I made my decision and it carries force, you need to petition for a parliamentary divorce. Parliament, why does Ottawa need to know? That's just how divorce laws go. It helps to know a senator to sponsor your petition. That connection doesn't change out every election. In the Senate, are there any women who might care to help a poor mother in despair? No woman has yet taken a seat in the Senate. In Ottawa, women are not well represented. I wish you were a senator, Your Grace. Thank heavens for women magistrates. A judge, but not person, my feminine trait. Yes, I know the Constitution needs an update. A judge, but not person, my feminine trait. Yes, I know the Constitution needs an update. Thank you, friends, for meeting me. It's time we talk strategy. Divorcing wives need justice. A senator among us. It's time to take a Senate seat. Women win elections to get in. Ottawa's lower house of commons, but to get represented in the upper house Senate is the prime minister's selection. Don't use dynamite, be patient. An Alberta seat is vacant. He will choose someone soon. The time is opportune. A woman could be the replacement. If legal persons are qualified, women could be personified. Like a politician, I'll draft a petition. Only one woman can win this fight. Emily, it's time. Let's plant the seed. Up, up, up to the upper house we go. Up, up, up to the Senate, don't tell us no. Up, 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 tell Ottawa we say hello. There's an empty seat to fill. We know that women fit the bill. Yeah, we want our voting rights, and now we've set our sights on an upper chamber thrill. Dear Mr. PM, do what's fair. Appoint a woman, show you care. Our cause is strong, our voice is loud. Standing tall and standing proud. Emily should take the chair. Prime Minister, number one, Sir Robert Borden. Hey! Up, up, up to the upper house we go. Up, up, up to the Senate, don't tell us no. Up, 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 tell Ottawa we say hello. We got a letter promised after next election, Emily would have her seat and our work would be complete. But sadly, he did not win. It's not even about me. Take any woman, I'd be happy. Appoint me or change the law. Think this might be my last straw. There goes my second opportunity. Prime Minister number 3, William Lyon Mackenzie King. Up, up, up to the upper house we go. Up, up, up to the Senate. Don't tell us no. Up, up, up. Tell Ottawa we say hello. Do his best, but feared he'd lose votes from the West. Another seat, another plea, another no in history. But still we send another request. Next time they say, but we're still blocked. Each response we're feeling mocked. Sign petitions enclosed, but the Senate door is closed. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's locked. Up, 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 how are we supposed to grow? Up, 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 when the prime ministers tell us no. Up, 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 in Ottawa progress is slow. 7 years and nothing to show. Up, up, up. 3 prime ministers told us no. Up, up, up. The same old rigmarole.
Hello?
Hello? Hi, William, little brother. It's been too long, I know.
It's good to hear your voice, sister. I hear your progress has been slow. My friend in Ottawa, Newton, tells me politicians
All talk, no show. A judge, not a person for 10 years. With every loss, confidence disappears.
You sound tired.
So tired.
Just take a minute. If you push yourself much harder, you might reach a limit. And I'm here. You know I'm so proud of you. You know there's nothing in this world that you can't do.
I could use some inspiration to get me through.
And I've been reading, I think I know what to do. A judge, not a person, now have some imagination. What if instead of changing the law, you change the definition?
What? Huh?
Instead of prodding prime ministers to defy or change the law, you can ask the Supreme Court to explain the constitutional flaw.
How?
A new interpretation, a new point of view, a new understanding, a new breakthrough. I think the government's conclusions are legally premature. We can get a new interpretation from the Supreme Court. Write a letter for a reference, a constitutional question, asking them to interpret the word person's definition.
A new interpretation, a new point of view, a new understanding, a new breakthrough. One last petition to go straight to the top. A verdict no parliament's power can stop. And I won't just rely on my name alone. I'll ask for more of the best women known to be fully represented. Can women sit in the Senate? Does persons include women? We'll get a Supreme Court opinion.
A new interpretation, a new point of view,
A new understanding,
a new breakthrough.
one petition,
5 signatures,
one Supreme Court reference,
5 judges. A new interpretation.
Edmonton, 1927. A warm summer day, hazy and blue. In the breezes sway, flowers bloom. Change our course. We're getting nothing from politicians. We can question the Supreme Court, the last of our petitions. A warm summer day, hazy and blue. In the breezes sway, flowers bloom.
Regarding the appointment of women to the Senate of Canada, we respectfully submit this petition asking, does the word person in Section 24 of the Constitution Act include women persons? We also request that Justice William Ferguson be permitted to present arguments on our behalf before the court. We have the honor to be your obedient servants.
Now it's time to sign 5 signatures. 5 faithful Alberta petitioners. The first woman judge with a little legal grudge, Emily Murphy.
Short story on rights inspired me to fight.
Henrietta Muir Edwards. First woman elected, properly respected, Louise McKinney. In a sea of Mr. sits a cabinet minister, Irene Parlby.
The most attractive is
The social activist, Nellie McClung. A warm summer day, hazy and blue. A pot of tea in the afternoon. 5 friends, hopes renew. In the breezes sway, flowers bloom.
Ottawa, March 14th, 1928. Welcome everyone to the Supreme Court of Canada on the docket. The person's case. Remember, this court is not here to make new law. We are only here to interpret and apply the law as it currently exists. The question raised today concerns Section 24 of the Constitution, which says the Prime Minister shall appoint qualified persons to the Senate. The question today asks, does the word person include women persons? We'll hear first submissions from the Government of Canada, represented today by a Mr. Eardley Jackson. Thank you, Mr. Chief Justice.
Let's start with the law. Contextually, it's clear to me that a woman in the Senate is an impossibility. Before Section 24 is Section 23, where qualified persons only applies to he who is over 30, he who owns property, he who is a Canadian citizen properly, a senator's qualities to decide oppositely would be a legal mockery. And of the 5 petitioners, they're feminist trend. One's a judge, 3 in government, 1 with a pen. Now they want the Senate justices. Where does it end? They're just nasty women with too much free time to spend.
Thank you, Mr. Jackson. Submissions from the petitioners delivered by the Honorable Mr. William Ferguson. Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Chief Justice. The government's case is steeped in fear, and politically speaking, it's insincere. Prime Minister King himself made it crystal clear, promised Emily a Senate seat within the year. On the law, Section 24 specifically says persons, not men. It's inclusive, conclusively. But if the he is of concern in Section 23, we look to the Interpretation Act. Let's see. Says that reading the term he also means she, unless otherwise stated explicitly. The plain meaning of persons is not a mystery. Persons includes women, and this court should agree.
Early 10 years of hating, they obsessive sexist. Then your legal argument, not even impressive. Are you sensitive? Nah, just regressive, oppressive. Typical white man from Alberta hates anything progressive. A hoser from Deadmont and scared of politics, going woke, balling up on a judge from the 6th. That's a bold stroke for a colonial cowboy redneck joke. I know this waist suit doesn't want this big smoke.
A rebuttal, Mr. Chief Justice. You see, if women were supposed to transcend their societal position, the power to give this privilege, give permission, lies with the good men in the legislature, the politicians. They could pass a new law or amend the Constitution. Maybe they won't, maybe they don't have that intention, but they alone get to decide women's inclusion. And that too should be this court's conclusion. To decide in their favor would be a mistake. And what of their lawyer? Give me a break.
Younger brother to the head of the snake. A real man, no, he's a traitor, beta fake. Ontario Supreme Court judge, no, he's a Toronto man with bare shorties and a bad legal plan. Oh no,
mac and cheese, fam. He's gonna lose this case like a true Maple Leaf fan.
Thank you, counsel, for your diligent argumentation. The court will reserve its judgment and send its decision later. And we will wish a very happy birthday to the petitioner, Mrs. Emily Murphy. Mrs. Emily Murphy. Mrs. Emily Murphy.
The decision,
Yes or no?
are women legal persons?
Yes or no?
The answer,
Yes or no?
are women equal to men?
Yes or no?
The question before us is one of great weight, of persons of rights and of Canada's fate. Is a woman a person in the Senate's chamber? We must consider, reflect, and carefully labor.
The decision, yes or no?
For centuries past, the law's been clear. Women's exclusion from rights is a mystery lost to the years. But it's not our place to question the why, but to seek out the truth with the law as our guide.
The decision, yes or no?
We've seen the petitions and seen the protests, and now the petitioners seek the law's redress. On the question whether women are persons I profess, the answer is plainly, obviously, yes!
Decision is yes.
The word person includes men and women and more. Children, immigrants, criminals, the poor, people of color, the dead and indigenous tribes are all humans that the word person describes.
Decision is yes.
We considered common law precedents in section 23, and also plainly obvious was the section's use of he. While the petitioners made a good case, they tried, but women by their gender are simply not qualified. So on the question of whether women are eligible for appointment to the Senate of Canada, the answer is no.
The answer is no.
A cold day in November, the snow sticks to the ground. Heartbreaking two letters, my sisters gather round. The leaves have fallen, the trees are bare. The court has spoken, no justice, just despair. Frozen spirit, winter's chill, we mourn this death. Buried silent and still, it's hard to catch your breath in the frozen air of winter's chill. Like a blade of ice, the second letter slashing, words cold and concise. News of Williams passing. Frozen spirit, winter's chill, we mourn this death. Buried silent and still, it's hard to catch your breath in the frozen air of winter's chill.
Condolences, Miss Emily. I can't believe William is gone. A friend of utmost integrity. How does the heart go on? I'm in town for to see you before I leave. In the winter, hope is bleak, but I think you have reason to believe.
Newton, I'm so tired, so tired. I just need a minute. It's hard to catch your breath with the frozen spirit. Trees are bare, quiet and still. Frozen air, winter's chill.
Well, that can't be it. Our fight can't be over like this. We've gone through 3 prime ministers and the Supreme Court. The men who run Canada don't want women's equality. Maybe if we get more women elected to the House of Commons.
Perhaps, but the Senate can defeat any laws for women's rights from the lower house. It has to be the Senate. Women have to get in the Senate.
Ladies, if I may, before I leave, I'll keep this short. You may have one more chance in another court. We call it the court of last resort, and I'd like to offer you my full support.
What's a court of last resort?
When the Supreme Court doesn't go as planned, we can appeal the decision to the motherland. The Judicial Committee of the Privy Council, JCPC, we make our plea in England for women's equality.
A child's strategy, it's inherent. They know you only need a yes from one parent. When one says no, you go ask the other.
If the father says no, you go ask mother.
If the father says no, you go ask mother. If the father says no, you go ask mother.
The Supreme Court said no, so we'll go ask mother. To the court of last resort, we'll go ask mother. We'll go ask mother.
And they've just had a queen for decades. They're used to seeing a woman in power. Our Constitution was made in Her Majesty's name. There's hope in our final hour.
The Supreme Court said no, so we'll go ask mother. To the court of last resort, we'll go ask mother. We'll go ask mother.
As the spring returns, the forest revives. One more chance to keep our case alive. As the maple trees thaw, the sap is sweet. Promises of syrup, victory complete.
And I know I could never replace your brother, but I'd be honored to represent you when we go ask mother.
The Supreme Court said no, so we'll go ask mother. To the JCPC for women's equality, go ask mother. We'll go ask mother. We'll go ask mother. We'll go ask mother. We'll go ask mother. To the court of last resort, we'll go ask mother.
London, England, July 1929. Welcome to England. Today the JCPC will hear an appeal of Edwards in Canada, commonly known as the Persons Case, on the question of whether the words qualified persons include women, and consequently, whether women can be appointed to the Senate. The Supreme Court was clear in their interpretation of the law. Tell us something new. Persuade us that either the Supreme Court was correct or that the decision should be overturned. Mr. Early Jackson, for the government of Canada.
Thank you, Lord Chancellor. Last time I bodied this case, left it buried and done. Now Newton's next, he's also outgunned. I say the Supreme Court was correct for our nation with their originalist interpretation. In 1867, when the words were penned, none of the founding fathers thought a women could ascend to the Senate. No, let us protect what they gave. Let us not spit on Sir John Macdonald's grave. Also, English common law is consistent through time. Women are not legal persons, that's a crime. Canada's roots are deeply tied to the crown. Disrespecting our past only brings us down. They call us outdated, no, it's tradition. Words need to keep a consistent definition. So I urge the court in all its wisdom to favor constitutional originalism. Now I'll pass the mic to Newton. Ottawa's traitor, crossed his own party, now sells out his gender. Calls himself progress, but plays the imposter. A politician, a poser, a person's double crosser. That's enough, thank you, Mr. Jackson. Mr. Newton Rail for the appellants.
Thank you, Lord Chancellor.
Yeah.
We can toast to tradition, worship the wise, but they're trapped in no logic and ethical lies. The Constitution is not carved in stone, it's organic, evolves like a tree grown in 1867. There were only 4 provinces. Should all of Canada be held to those promises? Or as Canada grows, so can its laws. And in time, courts can address the flaws. The law's alive, a living, breathing thing. It grows and adapts just like the spring. It's time to recognize the women in the colony as proper legal persons. A step towards equality this court should take on an organic approach to constitutional interpretation. And I hope we can see the patriarchy crumbling. About damn time men in power took a humbling early in the government. Stuck in the past, clinging to a world that just can't last. Must be a nice view from your ivory tower, but this coward's just scared to see a woman in power. Thank you, gentlemen, for your insightful submissions. Safe travels home while we make our decision.
To overturn the one-sided, unanimous judgment the Supreme Court decided. The question today on whether a woman ever could be appointed to the Senate and their legal personhood. The exclusion of women from holding public office is a relic of days more barbarous than ours. It should persons include women is the question we got, but instead we prefer to ask why should it not? The law is not frozen, not stuck in history. We conclude the Constitution is a living tree, able to change and grow, adaptable to 5 times flow. From a strong seed, we all agree the Constitution is a living tree. In the government, women can be elected, so why in Canada should they be rejected from the Senate? It makes no sense to we when the Constitution is a living tree. As the country evolves, as do we all, so can the interpretation, so can the law. The Supreme Court decision is overturned. Men and women in the Senate, it's confirmed. The law is not frozen, not stuck in history. We conclude the Constitution is a living tree, The leaves envelop and change as society develops. For Canada is vast and free, from sea to sea, a living tree. So if it's personhood and rights you're seeking, you don't need to change the law, technically speaking, to establish new legal rights and equality. All you need is the constitutional living tree. The living tree, its roots run deep, awakening from a long, long sleep. 1929, we make it clear, women's equality begins here.
Their lordships have spoken, the case is done. The battle for women's personhood is won. The word persons includes all genders eligible to become one of the Senate's members. The living tree, alive and free, a symbol of what's yet to be. In Canada, where justice thrives, the living tree forever alive.
Ladies and gentlemen, persons and persons, Prime Minister William Lyon Mackenzie King. Wow, did the JCPC just call us barbarous? Very wise. In light of the person's case decision from England, I have a few exciting announcements. First, gender equality is now constitutionally recognized. Women can vote, run for office, and sit in the Senate. Women can now help lead this country. Isn't that delightful? Second, the government is pleased to pass the Divorce Act of 1930. No more parliamentary divorces, the courts can handle it, so no need to fill the Senate with women, right? Third, No more Canadian cases will be appealed to the JCPC in England. No more of that. The word of the Supreme Court is final. Fourth, Canada is now seen as a world leader in gender equality and inclusion. We couldn't be prouder. Fifth, and finally, you really want a woman, Senator? Fine. I am pleased to introduce the first woman senator in Canada, Mrs. Karen Wilson. Congratulations.
Five women from Alberta now and forever. The famous five. Determined to thrive as true north strong. We planted the seed and the roots grow long. The tree is strong, reaching toward the sun. The famous five, the fight is won. From courtrooms to history, their legacy, their fights, the famous five, Crusaders for women's rights.
For all Emily did to progress women's rights, she was considered a radical feminist, and therefore too politically risky to be appointed as a senator. She says, "Whenever I don't know whether to or not, I fight. It was never about me though. Equality and progress won."
From courtrooms to history, their legacy, their fights, the famous five, Crusaders for women's rights.
The women of Canada, I believe that never was a country in better position to produce a great class of women, nor was there ever a better class of women in position to make a great country.
Seeds of justice.
I find myself in a world of beautiful diversity, many varieties of persons. They know where they came from, but do they know where they are going? The purpose of a woman's life is the same as the purpose of a man's life, that she may make the best possible contribution to her generation.
Sprout into politics.
If being a politician is a job where leaders pass laws that make life better and give greater opportunities to the nation's children, then it is most certainly a woman's job as much as it is a man's job.
Progress grows.
Women will make mistakes, of course, and pay for them, but in paying for them, they will learn wisdom. We emerge from the shadows of our past, but prejudice will not go out in one generation. That responsibility is passed to the brave persons who will continue the fight for equality.
Changing leaves. From courtrooms to history, their legacy, their fights, the famous five, Crusaders for women's rights.
10 years after being denied personhood by the Supreme Court, in 1938 we are invited to Ottawa for the unveiling of a plaque celebrating our victory. A tablet hanging in the Senate reads, "To honor the famous five, to further the cause of womankind, these five outstanding pioneer women caused steps to be taken resulting in the recognition of women as persons."
Evolution cannot be brought about by the use of dynamite. I was the only of the five who lived to see. More than 30 years later in 1960, all women in Canada granted the voting right. Indigenous women finally won their fight. From courtrooms to history, their legacy, their fights, the famous five, Crusaders for women's rights. They painted dreams with passion, but the flaws are there to show. No art is free from imperfections. When we look back, we know. First wave feminist flaws, advocated for wicked laws. They blamed Asian immigrants for drug addiction and forcibly sterilized Native women. And progress can't be stopped. Now the living tree can't be chopped down. The living tree is still alive, all thanks to the famous five. The Supreme Court still refers to the decision of the living tree, most notably in 2003, to declare gay rights and equality. From courtrooms to our history, their legacy, their fights, the famous five, Crusaders for all our rights. Determined to thrive as true north strong. We planted the seed and the roots grow long. The tree is strong, reaching toward the sun. The famous five, a legacy begun. Crusaders for equality. short story on rights inspired me to fight. First woman elected, properly respected. In a sea of misters sits a cabinet minister.